Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29, back again for another Fool's Gold to be covered. Those new to Fool's Gold, this is how it works. As you notice there, it's got their total for the artist, total for the writer. Now that links to the currency conversion of how much this comic is worth, and how much I think it's worth. As you can see, we are covering Wonder Comics. And in this it has a few new characters, which we do actually see. Now let's just get to the currency conversion nice and quickly. As you can see, it's just under $7 Australian for me. So let's start off with rating the cover and how it works with the story. Does it work within the story? In this case, it actually does. So for that, 5 out of 10. How much I think the story is worth? Probably about $1.50 in Australian dollars. Art. As you can see, this is a part of the early scenes within the story. And the rating for the art, a 3.5 out of 10. In some places it could have been slightly better. Now let's get to the story. Do we get cast of characters? Indeed we do. Do we get locations? Indeed we do. What about comic references? It probably wouldn't have hurt to have had a comic reference or two. Maybe just linking to the last issue to where they made an appearance at the end of the book. But what about the actual story itself? If I were to say anything about this story, it feels like Brian Michael Bendis has just handed the keys over to David Walker, and it's more David Walker's story than Bendis's, but there's still some small problems. Aqualad, still out of character. Sideways, still out of character. Who the fuck's Arrowette? Aqualad, we got a small problem with Aqualad too, I must admit. Because if Brian Michael Bendis had actually paid attention to Teen Titans, and David Walker too, they would see that with Aqualad's backpack, which was given to him by Damian Wayne in Teen Titans Rebirth, he's able to access and create water swords. And that wasn't shown in this comic. Of course, they did a silly thing with the Wonder Twins, just so it looks like, he gets a bit of glory there. The idea, I must admit, yes, it is clever of what they did do there. And of course, the villain being Star Labs. Now, I could easily see Brian Michael Bendis interject Leviathan into this run. It's just too predictable. No more Bendis before issue 25. In other words, get Bendis off before issue 25 of all of his DC runs right now. Now, for story rating. Now, I haven't given the rating or how much I think the story is worth. For the story, now, if I were to maybe rate it half-half, now, it's hard to know with this story who wrote what sections. Again, the same problem with what happened with Superman villains. Now, it would be nice to know what pages David Walker did actually play a part in writing in the story, in the content of the story. Of course, that's not covered in this, so he gets thrown into the same pond with Brian Michael Bendis. And I don't like doing that, especially to someone who could be a slightly better writer than Brian Michael Bendis. As for the idea within this story, it's a bit hard to tell who put this idea together for the story. Again, was it Bendis, or was it actually Walker, or was it cooperative? Without seeing the notes or the script on it, it's hard to tell. So, for the story rating, I'm going to have to give it a 1.5 out of 10. How much I think the story's worth? Probably about 50 cents. Until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments on what you thought of this story. And also what you enjoyed about the story, if you did happen to enjoy it. Big thanks to all my subscribers. And let's keep it colourful.